Here on the Talaria Boys channel, we have never done an E-Moto collection tour, so that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Here's the bikes that we currently own. Now, over the years of filming these videos, we have sold some and got rid of them and exchanged them for newer models, but this is what we currently have. And we're gonna start from the least expensive and go all the way up to the most expensive and talk about each individual model, some of the upgrades it has, how much power it's pushing. And at the end of the video, we're gonna tell you a few bikes that are for sale, so stay tuned to the end. And as always, if you guys enjoy this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. Let's get into that least expensive model. One other thing I forgot to mention is that we have 5 or 6 bikes on the way to us. So in the next couple months, there's gonna be a bunch of new bike reviews coming. So stay tuned for those videos. And our first bike we're gonna check out is the Surron Motors Roadrunner 2. We recently reviewed this on the channel. It has a 48 volt, 26 amp hour battery. It goes 35 miles an hour, and it has dual hub motors, front and rear, that put out 850 watts of power. This is not our fastest bike or our torquiest bike, but it is still super fun to cruise on the roads. And it comes in at a price tag of $1,600, but right now it's on sale. Is this the same bike or did I change it? Actually, this is the Surron Motors Roadrunner V3. It is basically exactly the same as the V2, but it has a little bit more power in the front hub motor, and it has rear suspension and a nicer brake set. So that's pretty much it. Comes in at $1,600, and right now it is not on sale because it is brand new, just got released. Next on the list, we have the RAR Mantis X. This is kind of a smaller addition to the bigger RAR Mantis, and we've been quite impressed with this bike. It has 72 volt, 30 amp hour battery. It has a top speed of 50 miles an hour, and it has 6.5 kilowatts of power, which is all quite impressive for the price of $29.99. So under $3 for this bike, and we'll be keeping it around for a while because it's been fun. We let all of our friends ride it and try it out. If they're new to the e-motos, it's kind of a perfect bike for that. Here is our new totally stock Talaria Sting MX5 Pro. This bike hasn't been out for very long, but we absolutely love it for the price. This bike comes in at 72 volt, 40 amp hour battery, 60 mile an hour top speed, and 13.4 kilowatts of power, which again is super impressive for the price tag. We do have big moto style brakes, which make a huge difference on this bike. This bike also comes in at 170 pounds, and for the price tag of $4,700, I think it's a great deal. This bike is, again, another one that we let tons of people ride and try and test. All of our friends, people coming, wanting to get into the e-motos. This is a great starter bike. Next up is a new addition to the garage, the Eride Pro SS 3.0. This bike is brand new and it is awesome. At a price tag of $4,999, it has a 72 volt, 50 amp hour battery, which is an absolute massive capacity for the price. 16 kilowatts of power. We got a 19-inch front wheel, 18-inch rear wheel. We have Fastace suspension now, which is an upgrade over the previous models. So we're excited to have this in the collection. One thing I forgot to add about the 3.0 is it is our next giveaway bike. So stay tuned, January 1st, that is when you can enter, and you might just win a brand new, perfectly clean Eride Pro SS 3.0. Next up, we have our upgraded Talaria Sting MX5. This bike's very similar to the last one, but it has a few modifications. Also, I wanted to mention there are timestamps down in the video. If you guys want to jump to a different section of the video, go ahead and do so. And we'll have a link down in the video description for our website, tbelectricmoto.com, where you guys can go and get upgraded parts. Try discount code TalariaBoys or TBelectric to save. We also have another web page on there that has all the upgrades listed on each of our personal bikes. So you guys can go check that out in an itemized list of all the parts. So what's different about this MX5? Well, it has a bunch of upgrades. To start, we have an Arflosa rear shock. This thing made an absolute game-changing of a difference. It feels so plush and nice. We've ridden the 450-pound spring and the 550 on this bike. Both of them feel amazing. Here we have our TB Electric chain guard, and we have Warp 9 foot pegs, Warp 9 foot peg lowers. And then moving on up here, we have a Warp 9 direct mount stem, stem lock, and riser bar. All that made the cockpit taller and a lot more comfortable. We also have the Warp 9 big headlight, which is a huge addition if you want to ride at night. We also did the Tusk ground wire tires front and rear, and I think that wraps up the majority of the upgrades on this bike. As I mentioned before, this bike started out at $4,700, and now it has about $1,000 in upgrades, so about $5,700. Next on the list is this big old beast right here. This is the Tromox MC10, and it weighs 240 pounds that we weighed on our scale. It has 12.5 kilowatts of power, and it has dual 72 volt 29 amp hour batteries that add up to 72 volt 58 amp hours, which is a pretty good sized battery. This bike is 12.5 kilowatts of power, and it goes about 54 miles an hour. If you guys haven't seen our review video on this bike, go check it out. We'll have it linked in the video description, since I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't familiar with the Tromox. To wrap this bike up, it comes in at a retail price of $6,500. Okay guys, now it's time to get into the heavy hitters that have really a lot of upgrades and a lot of power, so bear with me as I go through them. We're gonna start off with my old Talaria Sting here and keep working up. If you didn't notice, this is the line of price and performance. The higher you go up, the faster and more expensive they get. Let's start off with my Talaria. All right guys, this is my old Talaria Sting R MX4. I'll flash a pic on screen of what it used to look like. Right now it's kind of a Frankenstein build, and this bike is for sale. So if you guys are in Utah, or we may be willing to ship it, you guys drop us a comment. It is listed at $59.99. That's a heck of a deal for what you're getting on this bike. It's in great condition. It had a decal kit on it for its whole life. We just barely took it off. So the frame is pretty well protected. It does come with Fastace front forks. It comes with a Torp TC1000 controller, and this is not the battery it comes with. It actually comes with the EBMX 72 volt 42 amp hour high discharge race battery. So this bike does have a stock motor, but it's able to push about 17 kilowatts. And if you ever upgraded your motor, you could do upwards of 25 kilowatts. It also has the 18 21-inch wheel set from Warp 9 in the Nardo gray, front and rear with brand new tires, super nice tires, Warp 9 foot pegs, Warp 9 drop lowers, TB electric sprocket, carbon bar, Warp 9 direct mount stem. This is a really nice build for the right person and the right price. If you guys are interested, drop a comment down below or reach out to us at talariaboys@gmail.com. Next up, we have our upgraded Talaria XXX. This is the red edition, factory red paint, super cool looking. This bike has a lot of upgrades and is stupid fast. This bike is done over 90 miles an hour. It has the upgraded EBMX 74 volt 44 amp hour battery hidden inside here that you cannot see. It also has an upgraded Nucular P24F controller on the front and a Sotion FW01 Pro motor. So this bike is pushing about 25 kilowatts. Again, 90 miles an hour, some insane speed and figures on this bike. It also is running SRAM Maven upgraded brakes and a Warp 9 taller handlebar, direct mount stem and stem lock, as well as Warp 9 foot pegs. And it has a Manitou Dorado upgraded fork that I used to have on my Talaria. We moved it to the XXX. So this bike is just a street rocket ship, basically. Super fun, and comes in at a price point of roughly $11,000 if you factor in all the upgrades at retail price. Next up, we have Alex's Talaria Sting MX4 with a ton of upgrades and modifications on it. We are running an upgraded EBMX X9000 controller that's been powder coated white. We also have the EBMX 72 volt 42 amp hour race battery. This is the same battery that will come in that other Talaria if you purchase it. This bike is also for sale. Let me go through the rest of the specs. We have 18 21-inch Warp 9 wheels, powder coated white from Warp 9. Warp 9 linkage riser, Warp 9 white pegs, Warp 9 white handlebar, Warp 9 direct mount stem, EXT suspension front and back. So we have the Pharaoh with the drop crown in the front, rear shock, EXT Arma MX. We do have a stock motor still. This bike is pushing about 17 kilowatts at the moment, but same as the other Talaria, if you added an upgraded motor to this, you could easily push 25 plus. Right now this bike goes about 75 miles an hour, but with a motor you'd be doing 85 to 90. This bike is already really fast, and it does have a ton of modifications on it, including the SRAM Maven brakes. If you guys are interested in this bike, check the link down in the video description to head on over to the listing. Right now we have it listed at $8,700, which again, in my opinion, is a steal for this bike. This bike has well over $14,000 in parts and upgrades on it. So $8,700, I think, is a totally fair price for this bike. Next up, we have a new model, Eride Pro SS 1.0. We've had this bike for over a year now, and it has a ton of modifications on it. To start off, we have Warp 9 16-19 wheel set, big old moto tire on the rear. I think this size really suits the Eride Pro specifically. Just makes it super fun and playful and light feeling while still having a ton of traction. Suspension wise, we got EXT. We got the best. We got the Faro in the front, EXT Arm MX in the rear. We also have the EBMX X9000 controller. We run this on a lot of our bikes. Really is a fantastic controller, as well as the eWatt 80 volt 45 amp hour battery. We're still running the stock motor, but we're able to get about 70 miles an hour out of this bike and 20 kilowatts of power, even with the stock motor. We do have a lot of other small modifications on this, you know, taller handlebars, Warp 9 upgraded headlight. We're trying out these new Pivot Tracks foot pegs that have a kind of a wider platform. We also did a modification to put a Surron Luna float seat on this bike, which really made this thing so much more comfortable to ride. We're also trying out some riser linkages in there and a few other test parts that we are kind of always pushing the limit on this bike. That's why it's so dirty. It literally gets this dirty every 3 days and then we wash it. This bike has a ton of parts that put it in the $14,000 to $15,000 price point. If you add in all the upgrades that are on it, beast of a bike. Guys, Romney just told me that I'm losing energy on bike number 11, so we're gonna step it up for bike number 12. Guys, this is the Talaria Sting MX4. This is Reed's bike. It has a ton of upgrades on it, including the EBMX X9000 controller, the EBMX 72 volt 42 amp hour race battery, and the Sotion FW02 motor. So this bike is done 90 miles an hour. It is pushing 25 kilowatts of power. It's rocking the Warp 9 1619 wheels, just like our Eride Pro, the big moto tire on the back. Our favorite is this Bridgestone Battlecross X30. That's our favorite 16-inch tire. Now, for suspension, we're rocking our Flosa. We got the front fork here. This is the Pro model, $900. We have the 45 to 60 pound spring, progressive, and we absolutely love it. I'm blown away by this front fork and the rear shock. We're running the rear shock here with the 550 pound spring. This bike is an absolute beast. Other honorable mentions, we have SRAM Maven brakes. We have carbon E-Moto X parts right here and gearbox cover, Warp 9 foot pegs, bar mount, and stem lock. This is Reed's baby, rides this thing a lot, and as you can see, it's dirty. This bike, all in with parts, is $15,000, $16,000 because of all the titanium on it. All right, next bike, let's go. 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101. This is our heavily modified Surron Ultra Bee. This thing has a ton of upgrades. We're rocking 18 21-inch Warp 9 wheels with the huge tires. We've got an eWatt 80 volt 76 amp hour battery here paired to EBMX X9000 controller. As you guys know, it's our favorite controller. We got another Sotion Ultra Bee motor in there, and this bike is pushing between 25 and 30 kilowatts, more than we can handle, to be honest. We do have the stock brakes still. We got these orange hand guards, got this epic ECD Wraps decal kit, and we got Warp 9 foot pegs, Warp 9 kickstand. Oh, and I forgot, we got the Sirris front fork, EXT rear shock. This bike's an absolute beast, and it's our biggest, most powerful bike. With all these parts, this bike comes in around 17, 18, 19,000. I haven't done the exact math. The reason it's so expensive is because the battery itself is almost $4,000 because it's so powerful and so much range. You add a controller and motor and wheels and everything to this bike and it gets insanely expensive, but it is so much fun to ride. All right guys, I'm coming back to reality. This is our most expensive and our fastest bike. This is last on our list today. This is my Sur-Ron Light Bee X that I bought as a frame and did a full frame up build. Right now, it has the Supermoto wheels on it, the Warp 9 17s. Normally I run 1821 Warp 9 purple wheels. I'm sure you guys have seen other videos of this bike. It is an absolute rocket ship. It's got the EBMX 80 volt 45 amp hour battery, EBMX X9000 controller, and XLB60 EBMX motor. This is by far, hands down, my favorite powertrain combo. When I built this bike, it quickly turned into my favorite, and that's for a few reasons. One being that EBMX powertrain, something about this controller and motor together just feels better than anything else I've ridden, and I've ridden all of it. Like, we own so many different types, and I've tried a lot more than we own right now. This just feels the best in my opinion. Also, the extended swing arm. I didn't think I'd like an extended swing arm. I thought it would lose the playfulness and not handle as good, but to be honest, that added suspension travel because of the changed further out pivot point makes a big difference in making this bike feel extremely plush in this rocky Utah terrain. And I don't mind that it's longer because it corners so well. Paired to that, I have the EXT Arma MX rear shock, 500-pound spring. I have this bike set up really soft for the rocky Utah terrain. And we have the EXT Faro in the front. This is my favorite suspension by far. It's not even a close competition. I have the SRAM Maven brakes. These, I love the way that they feel and modulate. Now, they aren't the best brake for riding like a motocross track, but for single track and the road, I think they're absolutely fantastic. This bike has my favorite headlight on it, the Gigago light. We sell this. We actually have it on sale right now if you guys are interested. Super, super bright. It's the brightest we've ever tested. Also have the Drift 8 number plate with Talaria Boys on there, purple to match, super cool. The rest of this bike has a lot more upgrades that, you know, kind of go in sync with everything, and a lot of titanium parts. And because of that, this is our most expensive bike, coming in at over $19,000 if you were to buy the bike itself and add all of these modifications. I know it's absolutely crazy that it's this expensive and that we have this many bikes, but this is just kind of what happens when you run a YouTube channel and you review all the models, you compare all the models, and that's what we do. That's what our business is. Now, we basically earned all these bikes over 2 years and hundreds of videos ramping up. Well, guys, I just want to give a huge thank you to every single one of you for watching this video, for watching all of our videos, and for supporting us and our online store. It's just me right now, but I'm talking for all the Talaria Boys team. Alex, Reed, Mark, Romney, and myself. There's 5 of us now, and we couldn't be more grateful that we get to do this, review all these bikes, be able to own these models, and we're super grateful for you guys. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you have a Merry Christmas. I think this video is going to come out pretty close to Christmas, but hopefully you guys get a new e-moto for Christmas. That would be epic. And stay tuned for more giveaways that we're going to do in the future. And if you have a model you want us to do, drop a comment right now. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you later.